Good blessed Sunday night, June the 6th, 2021. It's about 11:30 p.m. I'd like to greet all you. I like people to listen to this real good, and don't let nobody throw you off when they say that I'm a racist or I'm a militant or I'm against all police. You see what I'm saying? I greet all human beings all around the world with a universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. It doesn't matter what your political, philosophical, personal, nor religious beliefs may be. It doesn't matter if you're the richest to the poorest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't even matter whether you the proclaimed toughest to the proclaimed weakest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter what the color of your skin is. It doesn't matter if you're big or small. It doesn't matter if you my family, friends, nor my proclaimed enemies. It doesn't matter whether you like me or anything that I put on social internet. I encourage every human being to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Raymond, Raymond, Ivy. It doesn't cost you anything financially nor materialistically. All it costs you is your undivided attention. Tonight, I know a lot of people is having their mind on Logan and Mayweather, and ain't nothing wrong with that. My focus now, y'all, is on this young man right here, y'all. That's Bryan Lamar Johns, my 45-year-old son, who would have been if God would have allowed him to live to see September the 27th of 2021, he would have been 46 years old. But for some reason, on March the 19th, 2021, in the 400 block of Oakland Street, on the third floor in an apartment building hallway in Carbondale, Illinois, his body was found, allegedly found then, lifeless. And I'm encouraging everybody that listens to this. I'm encouraging y'all to help me to get some other agencies, law enforcement agencies, private investigators, independent pathologists, independent investigators to help us look into this case of my son's. And I'm going to tell you why. You see, I found out on March the 23rd that my son had hung himself. They say he hung himself. And this was found out by a third. Hey, doing good. How y'all doing? All right. Y'all have a nice, safe night now. All right, thank you. But they said they found him. They said he hung himself. And our families on my side and his mother's side was notified by another individual, a female that my son used to be married to. I'm not going to say her name on here. You see what I'm saying? But I think most of you all know it was a white female that he was married to in the Carbondale, Illinois location. But they was divorced. But the police or the coroner had her contact one of my son's cousins a few days, I believe, after my son's body was found. And when my son's cousin was found out about it, they called down here to me because the rest of his family live in Chicago and Milwaukee and places like that. I'm the only one that live in Missouri. And once they contacted me and my two young daughters down here in Missouri, we came to Carbondale and met my son's mother and his other brother in Carbondale to talk to who identified themselves first as the coroner for Jackson County. But I found out later he was the deputy coroner. And an individual that identified themselves and gave me their card as a investigating commander, lieutenant. Now, this same individual, lieutenant, is still investigating, I'm assuming. He told me he was investigating when my son got shot a few blocks away from where his body was found hung. He got shot in June of 2020. They still haven't found out nothing about that. The bullet was just took out on the 25th of March of 2021 by the pathologist. But anyway, now listen to this real good now. If you say, and you say you're a coroner, but you're a deputy coroner. We know you're not a doctor, and I know you're not you're incompetent, because my son still had his underwear and his pants and his socks still on when you open up the body bag. You could take time to unpry his hand. You see what I'm saying? To take money out, and his hand was still closed like that and lifted up some. You see what I'm saying? So you couldn't have looked at his whole body. You see, because if you did, when the pathologist finally came and did the autopsy, she found something in his sock that you should have found if you'd have did your job right. But we know you incompetent. That's why I want some independent everything down there. You see what I'm saying? And another thing, let me stop for a minute. I want to thank the hundreds and thousands of individuals in Carbondale. Once I joined this organization, this group in Carbondale yesterday, over 70-some people shared my videos. Over almost 200 people, commented and asked anything that they can do. Some even wanted to start a reward thing. But what I want y'all to do in Carbondale, and I'm going to let y'all know, it's a bunch of white people that I don't even know that's helping me and gave me some good information that the police already have, so ain't no way they should have called it no suicide. But let me get back to that. When me and my son and mother met with this so-called coroner, which was a deputy coroner, and this commanding investigator lieutenant, the coroner told me these words, y'all, verbatim. He said my son and the commanding lieutenant for the Carbondale Police Department agreed with him. My son, death would be ruled a suicide when the toxicology tests come back. If he have drugs in his system, it would be suicide contribute to drugs. If it didn't have no drugs in his system, it'd be suicide contribute to mental illness. Now, I said, so you ruling out homicide? And he said, yes. Let me show you these here letters. But see, I found out something today when I joined this here group in Carbondale. The letter that he showed me and what he said my son said, I have proof that what my son said, you see what I'm saying? I can give you an explanation for that the police in Carbondale already know, because they talked to some witness. And when we get independent investigators, these people would talk to them independent investigators, just like Praveen's family. It took 4 years, but here it is when a jury convicted the white individual for robbing and killing Praveen. And when he went back to get sentenced, here's the judge. The judge wasn't a tear factor, the jury was. The jury made their decision. But he overruled the jury decision when it was coming back to get this guy his time, and end up throwing the case out. But look who the guy lawyer was, y'all. Y'all take a good look at that. You see what I'm saying? Look at what this guy was doing inside of the jail, making drug deals, and he still ain't arrested. He running free to kill somebody else, to rob somebody else. But let me get back to this here. Now, if you know for a fact, just like I know for a fact my name is Raymond Lewis Ivy, I know what my mom and daddy named me. I see what on my birth certificate. Ain't no question about that. But they said there wasn't no question about his death. If that's the case, when I met with you on the 24th, and then when I went on the scene and seen for myself, I'm not a doctor, never been, but I worked on the ambulance in Chicago, and I done seen a whole bunch of things, and I know for a fact that my son didn't commit suicide. Now, on the 25th, on the 24th, I went and made a video where my son supposedly, allegedly hung himself at. A sergeant went with me and my two daughters. The so-called coroner, which was a deputy coroner, white man, and he had a black female student with him. They didn't want to get on the video, but the sergeant didn't care about getting on it. But then when I went and looked, they seen that I'm not a stupid individual. They seen what they was telling me. I know for a fact it wasn't true. You see what I'm saying? They just like they showing me a glass of water and the water is clear. But they said, don't you see that water is red? And I know it ain't. But now on the 24th, after I laid there and made my video and uploaded it, all of a sudden, this, without a doubt or contradiction, suicide, and turned into a death investigation as of March the 25th, 2021. The day after, these two professionals, so-called professionals, told me my son committed suicide. Now, how did it turn into that? Not just because a little old black man come down from Missouri, you see what I'm saying, and showed y'all, I didn't care how much education you had, showed y'all you can't tell me my son committed suicide. Then the same deputy coroner suggested to my son's mother that she burned the body down there instead of taking it back up to Chicago like we did and have a service for him. He said he can get it cheaper, not in the a funeral home that my son's body was in down there in Carbondale, but he said another one. So he must have a connection with them. He said it would be cheaper. Then he didn't want me to talk. He wanted her to talk. You know why he wanted her to talk? Because she was breaking down. See, I ain't going to break down at that particular time. The Bible tells you it's a time and a place for everything. It wasn't no time for me to break down because my daughters and them was breaking down. My son's brother was breaking down. His mother was breaking down. You see what I'm saying? But I wasn't going to break down. I come from Cabrini Green. I done time in Menard Correctional Center, Stateville Correctional Center, Pontiac Correctional Center, Joliet. I didn't break down then. I've been attacked down here in Charleston, Missouri many times. I ain't break down then, and I'm not going to break down now. I've been up against the chief of police here in Charleston, Missouri, the sheriff in Charleston, Missouri, some of the judges. You see what I'm saying? Which I'm going to tell y'all, I know for a doubt, without a doubt or contradiction, they are white supremacists. You see what I'm saying? White supremacists backed by the NAACP here in Charleston, Missouri, and these others, 90% of these preachers down here in Charleston, Missouri. I'm telling you what's real. You see what I'm saying? But let me tell you, how could you go from a definite suicide by either mental illness or drugs, and you done found out he had drugs in your system? We know he used the drugs. You see what I'm saying? But I tell you what, I know he was dead before he was put up on that rope because it was too small for him to do all of that. Then with his right hand, then the weather in Carbondale, Illinois on March the 19th, 2021 was about in the 50s or in the 40s. I don't care how much drugs you're on. What you gonna take your t-shirts off on Sycamore and go up to the third floor in the apartment building up there in the hallway, take your shirts off, go back down in this cold weather when everybody else wearing coats, then go on the third floor around the corner on Oakland Street with a fire extinguisher that you allegedly took from the Sycamore side, breaking the window out, no sign of glass where you done cut yourself from it. And go up on the third floor, sit the fire extinguisher down, then somehow put a thing around your neck with a 32 belt, and your hand is still balled up. Just somebody show me how that can happen. And then tell me why these two professionals that tried to tell me and my son's mother that he committed suicide. I'm going to tell y'all something. I done tried these organizations, and the people in this group that I just joined yesterday, y'all showing openly where y'all want to know what happened when the organizations, they sitting quiet. And a lot of time people these organizations sit quiet until a big thing come. Oh, we found out that they was covering up this here. Then they think about lawsuits. But I don't need you then. You see what I'm saying? If you want to ride around me with me when my limousine is up and then when my limousine is broke, I'm standing at the bus stop by myself. I don't need you. But I need all of y'all that's openly. My Moorish American brother up there in Carbondale, you know who he is. I don't have to mention your name. I see you in this group commenting on the upside, supporting, putting it on your video. But see, I found some real friends of my sons this time. You see what I'm saying? We got what we call Harriet Tubman had. I'm the conductor. You see what I'm saying? And I'm an open conductor. I want you to know who I am because there's other people, black and white, is willing to take over if y'all take my life. It's a conspiracy going on. You see what I'm saying? They don't want it to think that somebody killed my son because they thinking about all them students in Carbondale. I wouldn't care if every student lived there. Ain't nobody got no right to take somebody else's life. If that's going to make the students stop coming to Carbondale, then I'm going to make sure they stop coming because I don't care whether they come or not. I care about what my son's life somebody took. I'm going to tell y'all, I appreciate y'all. Help me keep on trying to find somebody. And I thank those that offered me to come to the radio stations. And I appreciate y'all that when you had marches up there or had events, you allowed me to come. But I was wondering why ain't none of these civil rights organizations speaking out openly about my son's death? Everybody want to talk about wait till the investigation. How could you How could you let the wolf investigate another wolf that done killed the sheep? You see, anytime I got documented concrete information that individuals told the detectives about what something happened with my son before his death, and then they tried to contact to give them some more information and you ain't trying to get back with them, something wrong. Anytime I give the police information about somebody being on my son's Facebook page and you go talk to this guy and he takes his name off of my son's Facebook page, not only that, he takes off his nickname off of his page. Something is wrong with that. And then you tell me, oh, he's an honest guy. And I'm going to tell y'all, I know some of y'all been there, black and white, been using my son there, but it's going to come to pass. You see what I'm saying? It's going to come to pass. You know, I got to try to get my daughters up to Chicago so they can go up there with my two youngest daughters, be 15 and 16, so they can spend some time with my oldest daughter, because they done seen a lot. We was taking care of my dad, World War II veteran, for 6 years. And God called him home he had dementia. God called him home right in our house. I was sitting there holding his hand when he took his last breath on January the 30th. That took a toll on my daughters too. You see what I'm saying? This taking a toll. But see, if ain't nobody else gonna get up, you see what I'm saying, and do this fight that's related to my son, you see what I'm saying? Then I got to do it. Because that was my firstborn. I don't care if it was my second or last born. I got to do it, y'all. They thought my son didn't know nobody, y'all. Make sense out of what happened to my son. Look at my YouTube videos. You see what I'm saying? And let me tell you what the pathologist told me. When she did the autopsy on, I believe it was the 25th, I believe it was on a Friday. Law enforcement officials from Carbondale told me she was going to call me after the autopsy. Friday went past, Saturday went past, so I called one of the law enforcement officials on his cell phone that he gave me and said a pathologist didn't call me. Well, I think I'm going to try to call somebody and see, but I don't think I can get her on a Sunday. It don't make no difference if you get on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. I just want to know what's going on. But guess what? So coincidentally, he was able to get this pathologist on a Sunday. Ain't that something? What pathologist you know working on a Sunday or going to take time to call somebody? Then she called me and talked to me for a while. And she said everything that I said was far-fetched. It's far-fetched. You see what I'm saying? That my son was already dead and the money in his hand. She said her explanation for that. Elementary school student wouldn't go for that. She said maybe he thought twice after he hung himself and was trying to reach up. If you reaching up, you ain't reaching up with your hand balled. But then again, she from back. Let me stop. But anyway, this is what I want to tell y'all. I believe that law enforcement officials, some of these civil rights organizations, some of these high-power people, black and white, is trying to keep this closed and trying to figure out a way that they can tell me that my son committed suicide. But I seen everybody that been making them comments, none of y'all see suicide. I don't see it either. Justice for Bryan Lamar Johns, y'all. Justice for my son, y'all. Justice for him, y'all. I want y'all to share this everywhere. You see what I'm saying? Share this everywhere you can. And don't let nobody tell you I'm prejudiced or racist. Don't let nobody tell you that I'm a militant. Don't let nobody tell you I'm a murderer. You see what I'm saying? If I have to take a person's life like I had before, they was attacking me. What normal thinking being gonna see a person coming with them at them with a gun and gonna sit there and get to saying, the Lord is my shepherd and I shall not want, or we shall overcome? Not me. The Bible tells me in Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, 1 through 8, it's a time and a place for everything on the face of this earth. It ain't no time for no peace when somebody come and attack you. Peace be still.